What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Two Dudes and One Album, the show where we discuss one album every single week with your two co-hosts, Sam and Victor. Victor, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, and we got a pretty good album this week. It's not rap, our first non-rap album. It's a German band called Chaosbay. And their album, Vasilia, I think is how you pronounce it, Vasilisa.
Visilisa, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 8 tracks running at about 45 minutes. It's pretty good. I mean, if you want to kick us off, Victor, we can go song by song again with the same format we went last week.
Sure. Yeah, so this band's not very well known, I guess. I couldn't find any lyrics on the internet for
Yeah,
their
yeah,
album.
yeah,
That was a little frustrating.
yeah.
I'm fairly notorious for not hearing words well, so that part's going to be a little rough. But it's just a progressive metal band.
hmm
I found via recommendation on Reddit, actually.
Right. Yeah.
Overall, I was pleasantly surprised with the album.
Uh-huh.
It's a concept album. From what I can gather, it's talking about some sort of fantasy world with like Viking brothers and some sort of love interest being chased
hmm
between the three of them.
Oh, this is interesting. I just found the lyrics, but
Wow, that
yeah,
would have been useful.
yeah. It's actually so their album's actually on Bandcamp right now. I'll put the link in the description for the album for the Bandcamp purchase. But yeah, all the lyrics are actually there when you buy each individual song. If you want me to just link that to you now, we can hopefully discuss those.
Yeah, I guess. Overall, I'm rating this album at a 9 out of 10.
Oh,
Uh,
damn. That's Victor's highest album so far.
Yeah, I think this album just brings everything that I want out of a softer prog metal album.
Right.
I really like that it's all written as one song. It kind of trails into
Yeah.
each other pretty seamlessly.
Pretty well. They do it very, very well. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, of course not. You're writing. It's like I think it's 40. Yeah, basically a 45-minute song, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, I really like all of the callbacks that are brought out throughout the album,
yeah.
both lyrically and melodically.
hmm
So they have like a specific guitar melody. It's like just like 6 notes repeated, but they bring it through on like many different songs throughout the album. You hear it probably every like 9 or 10 minutes in the album,
Yeah. They
and
seem
I
to.
think that's really cool.
Yeah,
Kind of brings back to that whole like one song concept, as well
right.
as some recurring lyrics with the "Will you marry me" being said a lot.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Is that they bring up like a lot of like themes and lyrics throughout the whole album, where you hear it constantly. I think specifically like there's this song called. I think it's the second song. You know, 1 second.
Yeah, Three Brothers.
Yeah, Three Brothers, and then in the Rescue, like Hail to the King, they also repeat that line a lot, and they repeat it throughout the middle part of the album here and there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really good stuff. It's kind of, I don't know, it feels like a masterclass in songwriting.
damn. Okay, that's very interesting. I mean, I would probably put this album at a 7.5, like not really an 8, but better than a 7. Uh,
Right.
the reason why is I think it relies very heavily on just the guitar. So no other instruments really come through in the instrumentals. I didn't really find any moments during the album where I was very impressed by anything other than the guitar. So I found myself like being like, oh, a bass solo would be like really nice here, or like, some like just soul drumming would be really nice here, or like some acapella singing or something. But I found that like the guitars is where it really shines through, which is good. It's not bad. And the guitar is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the guitar is bad. But what I'm saying is like if they used more instruments in the foreground rather than just having it play the rhythm part, I feel like I would have enjoyed this album a lot more because they're clearly talented musicians who know how to write music. And I feel like if they incorporated different, I guess, like instruments in the foreground, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I found that the singer, his voice is kind of like a hit or miss for me. There's certain songs where I was like, oh, that's really good. But then there's certain songs where I was like, yeah, the singer kind of sounds like he's in the background almost. Or I felt like the singing wasn't like fully there for me. It was like almost there. He's got in certain areas, he has kind of like that nasally sound, which we can get into later. I think specifically in one of the earlier songs, Arrow One, he starts off with kind of like that backgroundy vibe to the vocals, where I was like, oh, like I would have preferred it if he was more in the foreground and like the music like felt more epic, which does come through in the later half of the album, especially like Revenge or The Rescue or Secret King. You can totally feel that like epicness to his voice, which might have been intentional, definitely. But I feel like in the earlier songs, if he had put if they had like put more of like that foreground kind of like epicness to the vocals, I feel like I would have definitely liked it a lot more.
Yeah, I can agree with a lot of what you said there. That's kind of what puts it at a 9 for me. Is I feel like I couldn't really hear the bass in a lot of the tracks.
Yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
agree.
there were some verses where you could really hear the bass shine. You could hear a great tone.
Hmm.
But for the most part, I was kind of longing for more of that.
Yeah.
And the vocalist for me, my first couple of listens, I was like, yeah, okay, this guy's all right. But the more I've listened, I couldn't imagine a different vocalist doing it. Like his voice grew on me a lot.
Mm.
One thing I would have liked as well to bump it up is more dirty vocals. Like I
Yeah.
feel like if he had more screaming and a little less cleans, the album would be better for me. That being said, they are mostly clean. There's just like a little
Yeah.
bit of screaming here and there.
I feel like
And that works.
even the parts where he is screaming, they're just kind of like not what I remember the album for, just because there's so many clean vocals in the album, right?
Exactly, yeah. And
Yeah.
I think having some heavier vocals would definitely bump this album out for me, as well as yeah, more prominent instrumentals, specifically on the bass. Like the drumming is great on this album.
Yeah, I never really, I don't remember hearing the drumming like on its own, sort of like with nothing else going on. You
No,
just,
he's
yeah.
just laying down beats, but he sets the tempo really well, and they do a lot of tempo change in this album.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely like true prog where you get like a lot of time signature changes and a lot of different things going on. But really what's taking the foreground in most of the songs is the guitar and the bass. And a lot of the times it's either or sorry, the guitar and the vocals. But a lot of the times what you get is you're getting either the guitar or the vocals, and when the vocals are on, you'll get like the rhythm guitar
Yeah,
happening.
they'll just be dropping like some sort of gent pattern, like dunk dunk dunk
Yeah,
dunk dunk or some shit with
yeah.
the vocalist like kind of singing over top of it.
Which I actually
Uh,
really like. He's very
yeah,
good at like segmenting his vocals so that he's not just like he's singing in rhythm. You know what I mean?
mhm,
With whatever's going on. He does it really
yeah.
well.
They do that for almost every verse in the album, and then everything comes together for this big epic chorus.
Yeah.
And the choruses are definitely where the vocals shine the most. He
Oh
has
yeah.
really nice melodies, I find, and it's catchy. Like I just have it stuck in my head as I'm walking around,
Hmm.
just like just be singing his vocal lines in my head.
Well, yeah. There's like that whole like because they repeat it a lot of times in the album too. But when when he sings in the chorus, "Will you marry me?" That shit was stuck in my head for a while too. Where
It's
he's
so
just
catchy.
yeah, right. It's such a good like small line that he does so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we can get into it. I mean, do you want to talk about the prologue real quick? I think it's a great intro to the album. It's fantastic.
Yeah, nice little kick intro, and then it just kicks it up into that big. Actually, there's a big drum solo there at the beginning, right? The
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is actually true.
before like
Yeah.
the guitar comes in with like a sweep and just starts playing a riff over top.
Yeah.
Sounds so nice. Yeah.
Not a lot of
Uh,
lyrics to this song either, right? So you don't get much of an introduction to his vocals.
no, well, you get his cleans over top of the acoustic, but that's just like a
Yeah.
different vibe
Which
entirely.
yeah, which honestly we didn't address yet, but I love the sections with the acoustic guitar. They do it very well, like to the point where not you're not just hearing the sound of the guitar, but you can actually hear the strumming of the guitar, which I love. I love when artists do that So I think they did a very good job with the
You
acoustic
hear
guitar
like the
sections.
fingers slide on the strings too. I always love that noise.
Yeah, that's awesome, right? Like it sounds so organic. Like I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I have written I got a little bit of Kill Switch vibes from the intro here too. Once they kicked in with the guitar, sounds
Oh,
a bit like My Curse by Kill Switch Engage.
oh, I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that song. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a pretty popular metal song. They're like a metalcore band from the 2000s.
yeah. No, I know who Killswitch is. I just never really listened to them.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, and like we said before, the prologue transitions so nicely into the next song, which like all songs transition very well, but Three Brothers just
Mm,
comes in. Like there's been so many times where I've been listening to this album and I'll be like, "Oh shit, is this the next song?" Because it's like changed so drastically, but you don't even notice that it's the next song.
right. Yeah, it's very clear that it changes songs, but at the same time, it just fits perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. This is where they introduce that line of "Will you marry me?" He kind of like repeats that in the chorus, and then they have just kind of like a very like cool rhythm while he's singing over top for the verses, and it's very very good. The instruments, like I said, they all kind of like do a very good job at setting up like the vocalist for those rhythm sections, but there's not really a lot of like lead guitar going on while he's singing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they kind of kick it up in the second part of the verses, right? It's a very structured song too. Like the
Yeah,
verses, it goes verse, chorus, instrumental, verse, chorus, instrumental, and it's repeated. So it's basically the same song sandwiched on top of itself, with different lyrics.
yeah.
I really like the tempo change in the chorus because you hear the drums starting off with like a double time tempo, and then like as he like breaks out of the first part and starts saying "Will you marry me?" like it slows down to halftime, and then they pick it back up again, which
Oh
I
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
like.
Yeah, that is cool.
Like pretty dynamic, like fast, slow.
Yeah, I think that does really well with the what's it called, the prog sort of scene. That's very like traditional, but it sounds so good to the ear, right?
Of course.
Yeah,
Uh, I thought it was really cool that this song could almost stand alone as an instrumental because they have the same like just groovy instrumental section after the chorus both times,
hmm,
which could serve as a chorus on its own if you're listening to an instrumental band.
right. Yeah. I mean, I never really, I guess I didn't think about it like that, but a lot of the songs on here, you could really just take out the vocals altogether, and it would still be fantastic because the guitar is just so amazing, right? The lead
Right,
guitar.
it's kind of
Yeah,
what carries the band. Yeah,
yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. And I wonder, like, I haven't looked in too much on these guys, but they're just running two guitarists.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I can't. It doesn't sound like there's three.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all I have to say about this. This is where they introduce that guitar melody I was talking about.
Hmm.
That comes back a bunch in all the other songs. It's just like da 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 da
Yeah,
da.
yeah. I love that. It's so awesome. Like,
It's so simple but so nice. It's just
I know.
catchy.
Yeah. It,
I mean, that's
so,
mostly all I have to say about that.
this is interesting. So the vocalist plays guitar, and then they have a guitarist. So it's actually just four guys.
That's actually really cool. So the
Yeah.
vocalist is holding the rhythm while he sings. That's very impressive,
Yeah,
actually.
that is. Yeah, especially for those sections where he's like
Yeah,
singing with the
like the
yeah.
verses where he's basically just doing the rhythm. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
nuts.
that is nuts. Yeah. Yeah. And then they
Super
have
cool. It's like Rush vibes with Getty playing the bass.
yeah, yeah.
Obviously, that's a little more impressive, but
Well, I don't
still,
like
it's all right.
yeah, I mean rhythm guitar is still pretty hard, right? Like it's
Of
like
course,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean I actually didn't know that. I figured there would be five members and I thought the vocalist was just doing his thing, but definitely
Right. They
apparently not.
also, I don't know if you noticed that they have keys in this band as well. I don't really hear any of the keys in any songs.
Oh, they do?
Apart from the very last song, they
Hmm.
have that just like synth,
Right.
just note. It's like a repeating note basically over and over again, holding the rhythm.
Hmm.
While the other bands kind of the other members of the band kind of dance around it.
Mm. So
So I'm not sure if they're using keys the whole way through, but it really didn't come through, which kind of comes back to what we were saying before,
yeah.
with the mix being not the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can't
I don't
really
know if that's
hear
intentional or
like
not.
a lot of the rhythm stuff just kind of like blends into one thing, which is fine. I'm fine with that. Like I still because it sets up a very good rhythm, but if you wanted to pick out a certain instrument, it's kind of like very you have to really focus to be able to hear that certain instrument.
Hmm. Just pretty typical of prot to begin with, right? They've always got
Yeah.
layers on layers.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when you look at like some of the more famous prog bands like Dream Theater and stuff, like it's even there even then it's hard to like fully pick out like you can focus on an instrument, but at that point you're kind of like losing all the other stuff, right?
Yeah, you're not getting the full sound for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I think Three Brothers was fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pick individual songs for this because I just kind of view it as, you know.
Yeah, it's like one big thing. I totally like agree with you there. Like I think the one song where I would definitely say so Revenge, for example.
Oh
Revenge
my
start
gosh,
I know,
how good
right?
is Revenge? We'll get to
Oh.
that.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
crap!
We talk about Arrow 1 right now, but Arrow 1 is also one of my favorites. Arrow 1 and Revenge are probably my two favorite tracks on here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arrow One has that amazing, just instrumental intro, right?
Yeah, I
It's like a
love
minute and a
that.
half.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
And
fantastic guitar work. I don't really know what else to say. It kind of felt like you can kind of hear their influences in a lot of the different instrumental sections.
mhm.
I was getting like kind of Tesseract vibes out of this.
Yeah, I can
Which
actually
is this
totally
other
see
prog
that.
metal band,
Yeah, yeah.
because like they kind of just do like the chug to chug chug into like this like guitar flourish and then back into a chug, and that's like very Tesseract
Right.
to do. Like they fill in the back half of the bar with just like some sweeps and then back into their rhythm again.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, like I don't really listen to a lot of Tesseract, but like I definitely know what you mean. Like I recently listened to one of their albums like the whole way through straight and I totally understand what you're saying with like they kind of like section over from something really creative on a guitar to just like basic like chugging on a rhythm and then they transfer over back and like that structure kind of like fits this song really well. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I got that's kind of what they were doing here too. And it
Yeah.
sounds good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, like you were saying before, it's kind of hard to like focus like on exactly what he's saying and try to follow through the whole story, like as sort of like narratively. But there's actually like a lot here, like when you're reading it, like feel like if we were to, like really sit down and read the lyrics, we could probably find a story there.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think overall we just get like the major themes.
Yeah, yeah. Later on, I picked out a bunch of the lyrics and actually just wrote them down and scribbled them on the page as I was listening.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So
Well,
I got some more of the story in the back half of the album than I did in the front half.
yeah, yeah, we can definitely talk about those when we get to the later half.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, they bring that melody back again in this song, right after I think it's right after the first verse, and
Hmm.
it's played in double time, which is really fun. So
Oh, that's
they're playing
cool.
the same melody twice as fast over top of like heavy like double kick drums.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, I love those double kick drums, dude. Awesome.
Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so nice. It just sets this like fast, high energy tempo. And it doesn't have to be even heavy, right? It's just like I don't. It's great.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love it.
This is actually the song that I was talking about previously as well. That has a really nice bass tone. You can really hear it in the first verse. While
Okay.
he's singing, and they just have like a little bit of rhythm guitar. You can actually hear the bass going off, and it's just like basically just playing a scale.
Oh yeah.
But it sounds really good,
Geez,
and
that's
that's one
one
of
of
the
the
few times where I could really pick out the bass, and I enjoyed it.
yeah, I feel like I didn't really pick up on that. I might have to re-listen to that. That's awesome.
Uh, Chorus, massive.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why this song really comes through. In my this is why it's one of my favorite songs is because his vocals like really shine during the chorus, right?
Yeah, every chorus for this band, that's
Yeah.
part is just driven by the vocals, and they're really good.
Yeah, no, no,
Like,
no. I
there's not a lot of
definitely.
other people who can really, I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of vocalists who can sing this, but he
Yeah.
does a perfect job. You
Yeah,
know, like
like if
you don't need anyone else. You don't need anyone better or whatever you want to call it.
right, if you had somebody different, it would at that point it's no longer the same song, right?
Exactly. I couldn't imagine that. Like after I've heard this album probably 10 times now, and I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine a different vocalist doing this. Like I think of all the other prog metal vocalists I know of, and it's like I don't think it would be as good.
Right, yeah. I mean, like, and there are some very good prog metal vocalists, but I
Oh,
feel like,
absolutely.
yeah, but I feel like he has that sort of sound that fits in really well, even if it's not like my biggest cup of tea throughout the whole thing. Like, uh, I feel like it's very unique to his sound, right? So,
Yeah. The song is really driven by instrumental in general. I found.
this
Uh,
one specifically, you mean?
this
Or
song
yeah,
specifically,
yeah,
yeah. Like over half of the track is vocal free,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I think
They
is like
have
one of the things that I like about it. The guitar is just so good in this. It's like impossible to like not think of the guitar as like the leading kind of thing in this song, and a lot of the album as well. But
right.
yeah,
I don't know if he does it in this song, but I know that the guitarist did quite a few of the songs. Will play a guitar solo, but then they'll be playing the same melody as the chorus through the solo
right.
over top of like a separate instrumental. And I always found that really cool. It's just tying back to all the reprisals. Like, there's just so many callbacks in this album within
Yeah,
itself.
they're constantly referencing things that they did prior in the album, or they're bringing things back in a different way, sort of like singing things differently or doing a riff in a different way. Like I think they do a
Right.
really good
Or
job of
it's like
it.
the same melody for the vocals, but different lyrics.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're obviously trying to set like a certain theme for the concept, right? Which they obviously know what they're doing. They're very good.
Hmm. Paints a picture.
Yeah. So we can move on if
Yeah.
you want. Yeah. So Arrow 2. Arrow 2 has quite a bit of singing in it. I thought it's not bad. Don't get me wrong. But this is the song that I thought when he starts singing, it kind of almost feels like his vocals are in the background. I don't know if
Yeah, I
you.
think that's intentional. Like, I
No,
think
it
they
is.
purposely panned it into the back, right?
Yeah.
It almost sounds like it almost sounds like a different vocalist to an extent, right? Like if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see
yeah.
a band live and you have like backing vocals from the guitarist or something,
Yeah.
it's kind of almost how it feels, right? It's like not meant to be in the foreground.
Yeah, yeah. No, it definitely is supposed to be in the background. However, because it's so far in the background, it kind of like mixes in. Well, you don't like confuse it. Obviously, you're not confusing it with an instrument, but it feels more like an instrument than anything else, which is not a bad thing. But I think that
No, yeah, that's a big theme of prog in general, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. But
Use your voice as just part of the soundscape. Like
yeah,
people just like making noises, just like oh type stuff, like not even saying
mm,
lyrics is like not uncommon,
yeah, 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 yeah.
even in pop music, right?
Yeah. No, it's definitely not a common thing. I just feel like I don't. I mean, it's hard to say really, but I feel like the song would probably benefit from a little bit of a foreground vocal in certain areas. Like especially like I thought in the intro, if it was a little bit more in the foreground, like above the bass almost, but still like below the guitar, you could kind of make out what he's saying a lot easier. But I don't know.
I have written as my first note for this song, just where the fuck is one? Because I was
That's
just hearing
funny.
this song and I'm like, where the hell does the bar start? Like it's just
Yeah,
like prog wankery and it's awesome. I
yeah.
love it.
I
I
didn't
have no
really.
problem getting lost in music and not being able to count the but yeah, this song definitely did it to me.
Yeah, I didn't really try to
Very
count
lost.
through any of the songs in this album, but that's interesting. But yeah, I honestly, I feel like it'd be pretty difficult just because of how seamlessly everything kind of fits together. You wouldn't be able to really pick
A lot
apart.
of a lot of the choruses are like very pop inspired though, right? Like you could just it's just like standard 4/4.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you can count one out a lot in this album, but yeah, they're just doing some complicated shit at the beginning here. Funny.
yeah, yeah. And
Where is one?
I'm I'm all for that though. At the end of the day, it's like I think it's awesome that they're able to fuck
Yeah.
with a lot of that. Do you find any? I think this is kind of more of like a side comment, but do you find any like cool polyrhythms throughout this thing, or
I wasn't necessarily looking for it too much.
right?
Usually, I just listen to drums to try and catch a beat.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really paying too much attention in general. They probably got some stuff going on, even like internally, right? Like within the drum kit, you can be polyrhythmic, doing
Hmm.
polyrhythms.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't really like catch anything too crazy in terms of polyrhythms, but
No,
I don't think that's what they were going for though. You know what I mean? I think they were going for more of like a
no, just like most of their time signatures are even numbers too, right? Like
yeah,
it all sounds like it sounds complete. Like when you hear an odd time signature, like Tool does this all the time.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
just feel like you're missing a note all the time. It's just a
yeah,
note being dropped,
yeah, or
and
like
it feels a little abrasive, but it's still works.
yeah, like I think a great example that is less obscure than like a lot of Tool music is Money by Pink Floyd. It like it's in
Yeah, yeah,
seven,
yeah, yeah.
but like
Yeah, the bass line.
yeah, exactly. It's in seven, but it's really because the beat kind of starts at a weird position where their bar starts. So you think that the one is you think that the seven is actually a one onto the next bar, but it's not. Like it kind of like ends that bar and then it continues. Like they don't do a lot of that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. You kind of yeah. They kind of chop off the one at the beginning of the
The next bar.
bar instead of at the end, which is what a lot of bands usually do. And
Right,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. You kind of get fooled into thinking there's an extra note with Money.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
More reprisals of lyrics. I noticed they're pulling back stuff from Arrow One.
in Arrow 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the three like Arrow tracks kind of like do a lot of that where they're calling back each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's a three-part track.
Yeah.
Takes up about what 2/3 of, or sorry, 1/3 of the album.
Yeah. So, yeah, like yeah, like 15
Uh,
minutes, which is yeah, literally yeah, like a third.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, the end of this song is actually kind of weird. I was talking about how seamless all of the songs blend into each other.
Uh-huh.
But between Arrow 2 and 3 is the one exception to that I find in the album.
I didn't think it was too
So I
abrupt
have
though.
the weird like electronic outro going on,
Uh-huh.
with like the pan vocals saying "Will you marry me?" in a screaming voice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I get it. It's hard to just like write songs into the next one over and over again. And Arrow 3 starts off very soft. So they kind of had to do some sort of segue into going from like such a fast paced song into something slow again. Uh, but it almost feels like cheating to kind of make the song come together by doing that. And
Yeah.
that's fine. Again,
Yeah.
it's really hard to do so.
Well, yeah, like I agree with you. This is probably like the only like transition between tracks that I would be like, it wasn't perfect, but it
It's
doesn't
good.
feel out of place, is what I would
Good
say.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels a little bit out of place just because they don't really have any electronic elements at any other part of the album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
That's a good
but
point.
it's fine.
Yeah.
It works. Again, instrumentally is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's so much groove. It's kind of like
Yeah, there is.
Pantera, but not as heavy.
Yeah.
Like Pantera is just kind of known for having super groovy guitar riffs, and
I've
these guys
never, I
pull it
don't think I've
off with
ever,
more. Pantera. Pantera is like a lot of metal people's like favorite band.
oh, really?
Uh,
Oh, we might have to check that shit out.
yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
It has like a lot of like rock influences almost. Like if you listen to like I don't know what you want to call it, like radio rock.
Yeah, like church, sort of like, yeah, like mainstream rock. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a lot of their riffs have that sort of influence, but with like a twist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 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 I agree. Yeah. Which is, it honestly, it's not a bad thing because it makes it
It makes
easier.
it a lot more commercial and a lot more catchy, right? Like there's a reason
Yeah.
those songs are on the radio. People like
Yeah,
them, they're catchy.
exactly. Yeah. I think it's a lot easier to get into as well, right? Like if you get presented
It's
like a
this is a
band.
much more accessible prog band than a lot of other bands.
Yeah, 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 I agree. Like you could probably turn this on pretty much like anywhere where rock is appreciated and they wouldn't mind at all. Whereas like if you were playing something way more complicated, then
Yeah.
it might not
People are
be
like, what
like
the hell is this?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. People would be like, like I
Look
don't
at
really like
these
it.
show offs. What are they doing? It doesn't even make sense. Yeah,
Yeah, like how do I headbang to this? It's not 4/4. Like you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like yeah.
Yeah, confused headbanging intensifies.
Yeah, actually, it's funny when I was in a band, the lead singer who played rhythm guitar as well, he would refuse to write songs that weren't in 4/4 because he couldn't headbang to them because he was a huge Metallica fan, by the way. So we'd constantly make fun of him for that, me and the drummer, because we were both like huge like Dream Theater fans, and so Dream Theater and Tool we were huge fans of. So
Dream Theater is like Metallica plus, you know?
yeah, yeah, I think that a couple of their albums you could definitely make that argument, like Systemic Chaos for sure gives off that really, really heavy Metallica vibe. But I think for like Metallica would never release like a 25-minute song, right? Or like a 2 hour.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of their songs anyway.
Sorry?
So a lot of the songs are pretty long anyway, but not that long.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so the last track in the 3-track part of Arrow. So Arrow 3. What did you think about that?
Arrow 3, Curse.
Yeah. Yeah, what did you think?
I like the beginning part. It's nice and soft. This is where I started getting a little bit of the lore.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
They were basically saying, like the third brother has found his beautiful wife.
Uh-huh.
But they're like bound. This is what I wrote. I don't think this is actual lyrics. They're bound to roleplay the darkness. But now they're finally free. The curse has been lifted. Referring to the curse, I guess, in the title.
Yeah.
So I think like it's like from what I understand, obviously I didn't get all of the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like these guys are like, I don't know if they're like princes or something, but it's like tradition to do a pilgrimage to find your wife, I think is what's going on here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some sort of
And he's found his wife who is like bound by some evil secret king, like or like Hades or something, like an underworld type thing.
Yeah.
And he's like rescued her and lifting the curse, or so they think. Dun dun dun.
Yeah. I have the lyrics pulled up here. If you want me to just read them out really quick, that part that you were talking about.
Sure.
So yeah, it seems to be like pretty much exactly what he says. He could release her from this curse by putting all of his trust in her fate, put its trust in them. The secret she found 3 years ago uncaged her family because they had been bound to obey the darkness, but now they are free. So yeah,
Right.
it seems to be that they were imprisoned by some sort of dark forces, and these guys like went and rescued them.
Yeah, and so it's like the song's mostly pretty soft, and they're just kind of, you know,
Yeah,
I don't know, slow balling it in, and then towards the end of the back end of the track, they drop in the distorted rhythm guitars, and then there's like such an emotional solo coming through. Like you can really, like, I
oh
don't
yeah.
know, the guitar just sings to you.
No, right? It's fantastic, right? Like I love it. Like I love that kind of like dark, slow, kind of like melancholy vibe almost. You know what I mean? Like
Right, and
yeah,
then you just get like this, like it's like I imagine like a Lord of the Rings type thing where you have like the big fight against like the orcs and the humans,
right.
but then like as the humans start to win, and like you know you get that nice uplifting music. That's the kind of emotions that were invoked listening
Yeah,
to that solo. Right, it's
yeah,
like it just kind of sounds like victorious and like bittersweet. Like obviously there's a bunch of chaos and bullshit going on around you, but like light at the end of the tunnel.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of like we did it type of thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, it just sings to you. It's really beautiful guitar work.
Oh yeah, the guitar and yeah, the whole thing is fantastic. Like
All right.
yeah. So
Uh,
I also think that like the sort of like how this song is kind of like softer leads in very well to the beginning of Revenge because Revenge starts out also kind of like really slow and soft, right?
uh, for a moment, it jumps straight into a headbanger riff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you got like a brief minute where it's like starting out with kind of like that slower um, vibe to it coming off Revenge or not
Oh, yeah,
Revenge,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Yeah, the first like
Think
30, 40 seconds.
yeah, yeah,
And then, yeah, it just drops into this like new metal, like a chord type thing, just like dum, bam, dum, dum, bam, dum, bam,
yeah,
bam, dum.
yeah.
And oh man, it just makes you want to like jump and mosh. It's just
Oh
so
no,
nice.
definitely. It's fantastic. Like I think this is we were talking about how groovy a lot of the stuff is. This is probably the one where I got the most into in terms of like cool rhythm
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
just like groove metal. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
that's the kind of thing that Pantera is known for too. Pantera is usually a little heavier, but it's the same idea. You should just like crazy groovy riffs that make you want to dance.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, this song, like, there's a lot of lyrics to it, but they kind of like fit in so perfectly with the instrumental that they don't feel like abrasive at all. You know, there's no point where I'm like, oh, I just want to hear more of the instrumental. Like, you know,
Oh my god, the chorus in this song is insane, dude. The
yeah,
emotion in this guy's voice is like
really comes
on
through.
another level.
Yeah.
Like you can just hear the despair and the agony in his voice.
No,
When he's
yeah,
like, "Please come back home. Where are you now? Like I need you," or whatever it is.
yeah,
I can't do this on my own. Yada yada.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
then, so I guess like he like I don't know. From what I would assume, he like woke up and his wife was missing. His newfound wife.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel like that's yeah, because yeah, it says the girl was taken, his love forsaken, and as he watched her empty room, his head was turning red, his tears were turning into sweat.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, what essentially like what they thought was victory turned out to not be,
Yeah.
right?
It was a trap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's pulling the strings somewhere in the background. Some malicious force. But then like so they have this like hugely layered uh chorus where he's just singing with like singing his heart out. You can just hear the
Oh
emotion.
yeah.
And then it just drops into a please come back home, and then you get like a bar like a beat of silence into like oh my god, the what did I say? Despair. You just like
Mm-hmm.
you could just hear the despair even in the guitar work directly after that. It's just like so like dissonant and like it's not quite in key, I guess. I don't know if that's actually like musically true, but that's how
Right.
it feels. It just feels like it's like not in key, but like on purpose.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah, yeah, yeah. It
and like
feels like it's
I
almost
actually like
off.
nearly shed a tear the first time I heard that. Like it just like hit me
Damn.
like so hard.
Yeah, I mean it's super emotional. Like these two tracks back to back are super emotional tracks. So like it really like if you're really paying attention to everything, like especially like the guitar I think does a better job of invoking that emotion than the vocalist alone. If it was just the vocalist or if it was just the guitar, I feel like it wouldn't be like
No,
quite
it wouldn't
there.
have hit me nearly as hard, but you just hear him like
Yeah, exactly.
desperately asking for her to come back, and then you just hear the guitar hit you, and you're like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
is such a
Because
sad song. It's so powerful, though."
yeah, the blend of it all just works so well together. It's very like not only just emotional, but like very like thought provoking as to like everything that's going on in like this story that they're trying to tell.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then like some of the lyrics I picked out again. I guess you have them
Hmm.
pulled up. He says something along the lines of like the other brothers are like doing totally fine because their light protects them from curses like a barrier, which I thought was pretty cool imagery.
Is that like near the end?
Yeah, more towards the end.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I see that. Yeah, can't stop thinking about his brothers and their wives still unharmed. It seems unfair. Yeah, which is really sad actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, their light protects them from curses like a barrier. I like that line.
That is a yeah, yeah. The sense of life protects them from curses like a barrier. Yeah, that's really good actually. There's some like once I'm actually now that I'm actually like reading the lyrics, there's some good shit on here. But like when
Hmm.
you're trying to pay attention to everything, it's kind of hard to pick out small things,
There's
right?
so much to hear. I had to hear this album so many times to even give it a proper
Yeah,
review.
yeah. I definitely yeah have to listen to it because the first time, even like in my first impression, I wasn't a fan at all of his vocals. It took me a while before I was like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it would there was
Hmm.
a while before I
They
remember.
they grew on me pretty quickly. After 3 or 4 listens, I was like, "Hell yeah, brother, sing it!" Like I want that
Yeah,
catchy melody.
yeah. I remember the first time that I listened to it. I saw you the next day, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, dude. His voice seems kind of nasally, like almost like Tom from Blink 182. And
Yeah,
I was obviously exaggerating, but yeah, I definitely don't feel that way anymore. Just like the more that I listen to it, the more that I'm like, I get what they're trying to do. I get the sound that they're going for, and if it was any other vocalist, it wouldn't be the same thing, like you were saying.
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the we can move on if you have any more to say about Revenge, we can keep going. But
Uh, everybody should hear this song, especially in context of the album. This song
yeah,
is insane, so powerful.
yeah, yeah.
I don't really have much more to say. It's you have to hear it. It's so good.
I like yeah, like I was saying, the Arrow One and the and Revenge, are my two favorite tracks on here. Both amazing. Listen to both. Like
Yeah, 100% playlist material.
yeah. So yeah, we can move on to the last two tracks on here. The Rescue is
Yeah, Hail to the King in brackets.
yeah, which I think it's interesting that all of their tracks are like the name and then the
Right. I think the title of the track without the parentheses
hmm
is basically just setting up like the movement in the entire piece, and then the parentheses is kind of like they're all lyrics from the song. Like they say those lyrics at some point in the
right.
songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas the other ones are kind of like titled. It's like it's kind of like a book series where you get the title and then the parentheses is like the content.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, it's almost like, oh, that's an interesting way of looking at it, actually. Yeah, that I actually like that interpretation of it, where like you kind of have like the whole series is called like whatever.
Vasilisa.
Yeah, like
And
Vasilisa, and then you'll get
yeah,
like
you got like book one, Three Brothers, book two, Arrow One. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That is cool. And the song titles come with the numbers anyways, which like they're added to it. So it's obviously supposed to be a thing that you're supposed to listen to in like order. It's not just they're not
Oh,
meant to yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's a concept album. You're supposed to hear it start to finish. As we said before, it's a 40 some odd minute piece of
Yeah,
music, right? Start to finish.
yeah, very easily consumable. Like I feel like if the album, which normally a lot of my complaints when it comes to like albums is that oh you could have probably taken out this song or you could have taken out this, right? I think we've brought that up a lot in our discussions of the past like 3 weeks. But
Yeah,
with this album, you really can't
I
take
want
anything
more.
out. Yeah, yeah,
I
almost.
actually want more. That was actually another part of my complaints that I forgot to add to bump this album up to a 10. So there
Uh-huh.
was, I want a little bit more dirty vocals. I want a better mix. I want to hear the bass a little better.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it to be longer, man. I just want more after it's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
mean,
like no more.
I feel like the length kind of plays to its strength though, right? I feel like if they had gone for a kind of epic scope, if we had gotten like an hour and
I
30
got
minute
like
album.
if I yeah, but if I got like 10 more minutes of this album, I would not be upset.
Yeah,
Like
maybe
yeah,
like
I agree. I don't want like an hour 15, hour 20. That might be a little drawn out.
yeah,
Uh
maybe like one more
they can
song.
flesh out the story deeper. Yeah, give me like two more songs, one or two
Yeah.
more songs.
Yeah, like 2 5 minute songs. I feel like you could really benefit from that. But yeah, you really can't take anything out. Like as a concise piece of music, 45 minutes, it's
No, it's tight.
amazing.
It's very tight.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like they've clearly worked on it and refined it to the point where like they're like, okay, this is what we want, and it like really comes through. It's like I would almost compare it to if you know the album Kids See Ghosts.
I haven't listened to it, but it's Kanye West
And
and
Kid Cudi.
yeah.
Yeah, so like it's also a pretty short album. Like I think it's like sits around 45 minutes. But you could really tell that every single one of those songs they're so different from each other and they refined it so well. It kind of reminds me of that.
Right. Like
So
they maybe started with an hour and 20 minutes of material, just kept cutting what they could.
yeah, exactly. Which I almost feel like that's what was going on here, but it's hard to say because of how well everything kind of mixes in with together. That they might have just like intended it to be this short, and more power to them if
Yeah.
they pulled it off.
I don't think that they're a band full time.
Oh, really?
That might not be I'm not entirely sure.
Uh huh.
But I know they became like they released their first material in like 2012, I was reading.
Okay.
And this is their first LP.
Oh, this
So
is their
they
first
were
like full release, eh?
yeah, so they had like I think one or two EPs before this, and this is their first LP after 3 years of being a band. Right? So
Yeah.
they've had a
So
lot of
they
time to put this together.
yeah they
And
might
then
not
they
be
haven't released an LP since until I was just seeing right before we started here. They just released a new album on September the 19th of 2020. So it's taken them 5 years to write another album. So
Hmm.
I don't know how long it is, but I guess that's like a big part of what they're doing, right? Where
Yeah.
they just write a bunch of material and then just take the best. Could
Yeah.
be part of their
It'd
process.
be interesting if they have like day jobs that are just like regular ass people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like how are you supposed to be a touring band that releases albums every 5 years? Especially if you're not that well known, right? Like I couldn't even find their lyrics on like any lyric
Yeah.
websites.
Yeah. I mean, I'd always bring up Tool, but that's a totally different situation. Like Tool didn't release music for like 8 years or whatever it was, like
Yeah,
10 years. Yeah. But like,
but they weren't touring musicians at that time either, were they? I don't think they were really going on tour.
no, but they also all have like different projects that they work on, right?
Exactly.
So
So they
yeah.
were full time musicians in other band. It's
Yeah.
not really the same idea. I don't
It's
know.
not.
Maybe these guys all have different bands too, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, they seem pretty like small, like we were saying before. So they do like, I wonder if they're even like working through like a record label, is because it seems to be all independent.
Right. They released on Bandcamp, right? Which
Yeah,
is
just super independent.
yeah. So yeah, maybe they just paid for some recording studio
Hmm.
time. They might even mix it themselves for all we know. No idea.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe.
On to the rescue.
Yeah, that sounds good. And just as a quick side note, it seems to be that that's just like a theme that they go for with their albums. Like their newest album, Asylum, is like 40 minutes, 43.
Right. And I assume it's probably also a concept album.
Yeah, and it's got very cool concept art. That's all I know about the album.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
looking at it too. It's got the big tornado.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty dope. I'll
definitely
have to
have
check
to
that
check.
out.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that. Definitely have to check that out. But yeah, we can move on to Secret King. Kind of like it's an awesome end to the album.
Oh, we're on the rescue still, right? We haven't talked about seven.
Oh yeah. No wait, no, no. Yeah, we did.
I didn't say shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can say your part. I was saying no. I said because I was talking about how the previous song from the Rescue, how Arrow 3 or Revenge, sorry, like leads in. So oh no, I said that about Arrow 3 and Revenge. You're right. We're on the Rescue. My bad. This is a professional show. This is a
Yeah,
professional show, okay?
we're very good at what we do.
We're professionals, okay? So yeah, the Rescue. Yeah, sorry, we got sidetracked on a tangent. That's my fault.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, this has like a really fun, like almost like scale like guitar riff intro. It's like da na 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 na.
Hmm.
Right? It's
Yeah.
like almost like a Dream Theater type thing. It's
Yeah,
actually very much like a Dream Theater type thing.
it definitely reminds me of Dream Theater. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, really fast, really fun scale.
Hmm.
It just cuts into like this pan chugging, and you're like dun, 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 like left right into
Yeah.
like a heavy drop. It's actually awesome. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I agree with
Uh,
that like kind of switch up. It's awesome. It really gets you in the mood. And like I almost didn't expect it. When it happened, I was like very much like, whoa,
right.
like, yeah.
Uh, then it drops straight into the reprise of that guitar melody I've been referencing this whole time.
Yeah, which they do so
From Three
well.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes directly back into that, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm listening to Visilisa. Like this is a whole piece.
Right.
Oh
Yeah.
man, the reprise is so good.
Yeah. And like, man, I would love to see this whole album straight through live. That would be fucking awesome.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Straight into even like they recycle a lot of the lyrics from Three Brothers as well here.
Yeah. Almost like it's a nice send off, and they repeat that line, "Will you marry me? Will you marry me?"
Yeah.
Over, yeah, like it's really nice. And then there's a lot of other lyrics and stuff going on.
Right. Uh, and then I thought it was really cool. They drop into a big solo right after their first verse, or
Hmm.
sorry, first chorus.
Yeah.
And the rhythm guitar is palm mute doing the same riff that the intro riff was. You hear the dugga dugga dugga
Oh,
dugga, but it's all
okay,
palm
that's
muted.
cool.
It's
Yeah,
like a really fast like guitar solo over top. It's so
hmm,
cool.
that is
Just
cool.
yeah, it's just all tight and like drawn together. And it's just a very cohesive piece.
Yeah.
Like they have a concept, they stick with it, and then they just do cool stuff around it.
No, that seems to be a theme for both of their releases. I assume Asylum is pretty similar. You know what I mean? Shorter album, like that's like I don't know. Like I think they do
I'm just
such.
talking like enclosed in this song itself. Like they set the tone at the beginning. It goes the whole way.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just didn't really notice that, but like
Right.
definitely like there's such great
I listen
musicians.
to a lot of prog. I pick up on those things a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're definitely more well versed in prog than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have the nice acoustic outro with all the just like soft singing again. It's
Hmm.
basically a reprisal of Prologue.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So
he
I
basically
guess like
sings a poem, right? Like talks about how love wasn't enough to save his wife. Uh, it's what all the pain means.
hmm
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of sad.
yeah,
Talk about his wife's been stolen by, I presume, the Secret King, which is the title of the next track.
right. So I wanted to ask you about the acoustic part near the end of this track. So I guess I don't have it written down here, but like, could you also hear the strumming in it, or is it simply just like an acoustic thing? Because I feel like that's my favorite part of all the acoustic parts.
Uh, I didn't write anything, but I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I was really trying to listen to the lyrics here
Oh, I
because
see.
this is the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
time I got the chance to actually, hear it without all the sonic pollution, I guess you'd
hmm
call it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love all the acoustic sections on here. That's why I was asking. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good, classy.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah,
Secret King is really good too. If you want to,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
mostly
yeah,
instrumental, which I love.
yeah. Uh, this is where I heard the synth I was talking about before.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like the whole song is just kind of driven by this like dun 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 dun
hmm
dun, like just a droning like steady beat synth. And
Yeah.
this is a song where they finally got to like show off a bit of their talent because they didn't have the drummer constantly keeping time for them
hmm
because whoever's playing the keyboard was doing it. So they got to do this like just pure wankery, like proper prog wankery, where they're just playing with time like all over the place, coming
Yeah.
in on half beats, like stopping mid bar, picking up somewhere else. They do that for like 20, 30 seconds before they come back into the song again, but they really break it down.
Right. Which is awesome. Like I wouldn't
Yeah,
necessarily call this one of
it's
my.
kind of like they're just showing off, but
Yeah.
I mean it's kind of well deserved. Like
Oh yeah, especially for an end track,
the
right?
poor drummer was just holding down the tempo for 40 minutes, let him show off for a bit, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially for an ending track too, it's like very like well put in place for it to be happening. Like if this was happening kind of like in the middle of the album, it
Even
would
like if it's like the first two songs, you'd be like, okay, these guys are just jackasses.
yeah, exactly, right? But for like an end track, it fits in so well. I think they just have the concept down so perfectly.
Yeah. And again, I noticed like a lot of like Tesseract or like periphery vibes in this
Mm. hmm
with the guitar work.
Yeah, I didn't really pick up on those for this, but that's interesting. Yeah, so I mean, we can keep talking about sort of the instrumental for this if you want for a little bit, and then we can close it out.
Yeah, it just sounds really hectic, but
But
I don't know.
it's like kind of
It's
like
in a good way. Yeah.
yeah, like I would call it kind of uh, a controlled chaos almost, which is like you could describe a lot of prog like that, but like
Yeah, it's kind of a cliche way to describe prog, but it
yeah,
fits it.
yeah. I mean I like it. I like it a lot.
I want to look into the lyrics a little bit.
Yeah, sure. If you, I can send you a link if you want, or
I got it. Pretty
okay.
short.
Yeah, they're pretty
This is
short.
a world with a secret king who dares to doubt him, forgot one thing, a great invention let us down, enslaving ourselves on the social ground.
hmm
Is this whole thing just a dream?
That's a hot take. I don't think so. I don't think it's a dream. I
Right.
mean, what does Vasilisa even mean, right? Like,
I don't think I think it's just the title. Could be wrong though.
so Vasilisa the Beautiful is a Russian fairy tale about, yeah, I think it's a woman that gets rescued because she was enslaved. So then maybe this
Oh,
is, yeah, maybe this
so
is,
this whole album's just about a Russian fairy tale.
yeah, I
Oh.
think so.
This all checks out now. That's funny. We didn't know that till now.
This all checks out. Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
mean, I kind of picked up on that anyway, to an extent.
well, I definitely
I
didn't
thought it
know.
was original work and not a fairy tale, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I
sure
mean,
they put their own
what's
spin
original
on.
these days anyway?
Yeah, I'm sure they put their own spin on a lot of things, right? So that's interesting, though. I had no idea that it was based on a fairy tale. That's cool.
Wish I was sleeping instead of. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, good outro. It ends again with the just the like it just drones out with the synths for the end of the song too, and
Yeah.
then you just like the album just ends with that, right?
Yeah,
Just
and
leaves you with like basically nothing.
I'm not like a huge fan of synths when it comes to metal, but I think the fact that they only used it for that one song, and it works really well in this song too. So I really
A
liked it.
lot, a lot of bands that use synths in general, mostly just play chords with it.
Right.
So they're just basically doing rhythm guitar, where so they'd have like a guitarist doing like a solo, and then the rhythm guitar doing like a genty thing,
Hmm.
and then you'd have the synth just playing a chord. So it's just
Right.
kind of like adds the extra layer. They basically use them as a guitar in a lot of cases.
That's interesting, actually. I was not aware, but that's cool. It's very cool.
Uh, yeah. Any more thoughts for this album?
Um,
I got everything out I wanted to
yeah,
say.
I'm pretty like I got pretty much everything that I had written down out. Like, the guitar is fantastic. The vocals mesh really well. At some points, the vocals feel very, or not very, but somewhat lackluster. Where like I would prefer if they were kind of more epic. Um, yeah, I wish there was more bass, and I wish that there was more drumming, like sort of in the foreground. But that's fine because a lot of the songs during their chorus feel like very epic, but in the verses they kind of like take that background uh, sort of position in the music. Overall, the album's fantastic. That's pretty much like a lot of my thoughts concisely, right?
Right. So still 7.5, eh?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
7.5, 8. Like I feel like I could bump it up to an 8,
Yeah.
but like I feel
No, I
like
mean, in the context of metal, I'm sure there's a lot of albums that you like more than this, right?
oh, definitely. Yeah, yeah, what I'm talking about. Yeah.
This is
But
just such a great, easy listening prog album for me, and that's why I put it so high. I don't think it's the most technically impressive album, and I don't
mhm.
think it's like my favorite album at all. Like, there's a lot of albums I like more than this, but this is probably going to remain in the playlist for a long time. And I think it'll probably stick around to 9.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would enjoy the album a lot more, sort of like as a full album. I feel like there's those two songs that I could pick out and play at any point, but a lot of the songs I would enjoy way more if I had it in the context of like the previous song, right?
Right, for sure. For
Yeah.
me, it's I almost exclusively listen to music in album format anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, so it's like, oh, let's listen to some like music. I'm just gonna put an album. It's just what I do.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't really have that issue.
Yeah. I feel that.
So yeah, I guess I'll just stick with my 9. I got everything out I wanted to
Yeah.
say.
I feel like I'm gonna bump it up to an 8 from the 7.5. So
Cool.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Um, very nice.
catch everybody next week, I guess. Then, right?
Yeah, we'll catch up on next week. Where if I'm just gonna announce the album now that we have for next week.
Sure.
Yeah. So next week, tune in to listen to us discuss "Rodeo" by Travis Scott.
Oh, should be a fun one.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fantastic album in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Cool.
Cool. All
Take
right.
care, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye bye.
Yo, I accidentally just